So I'll be talking the fundamental concepts of the SDN because this will give you an idea that how internet is working now and how the internet has bottlenecks, and then why people are thinking of SDN, the concepts, and what are the problems in SDN will solve, the software defined networks. So I will move like this. Look at, so is networking is important. That is only one slide I'll show you, which I always discuss with my student friends. Is networking important? Why we are studying this? As we always ask to our question, which subject, which elective we should pick up. So with respect to that, we go to those electives. So is it important? Then I'll talk about why the internet was born. We had a wonderful telecom network. Till today, if you dial anywhere to anywhere, you will reach to the destination without any problem. So why does internet was born? If the classical telecom network was there, so nice. And so what was the philosophy behind it? It was inside the confidential files by the intelligence which is recently came out from that, why it was born, how internet works, and now the challenges the existing internet, and then why software defined network was born. So you see a lot of whys are here because the concepts why. So please ask me whenever you have any doubt. Then I will come to the SDN architecture, then I will conclude my talk. Let us first go through that why networking is so important. Is it so important? Yes, now everybody has a mobile in the pocket. So now if I say it is not important, you will not agree. Is it only mobile? Look at this. This telephones, you know, this mobile, internet, you know, postal services, all your couriers and your postal departments now, TV, radios, pagers, cellular, credit verifications, landmines is connected by any of these networks. Okay. Transportations, you go by aeroplane, you go by train, you go by bus, all ticket booking to your control of the fleet of the bus, train and all are by the networks. Water transportation, the drop of water we are getting from the dam to the swimming to the supply is controlled by the networks. Even though if these bulbs are burning here, these lights are on, if you go to this power grid office, if you find 3 people with a keyboard sitting, they give control there. This goes connected to the power grids where the power supplies are from different, so Chhattisgarh and Odisha comes to the Bangalore, and from here it goes to Kerala, Tamil Nadu and all. So controlled by the networks. And social networks, family, biological, power grids, sewerage. And if you are in the sleep also, your house is now, the burglar alarms are there, that is connected to police station. So that is the network. If you are walking, you are putting a wristwatch, which is a sensor network, body area network, which is connected to your doctor. If heartbeat happens, anything, then it's a problem. So if you look at whether you are awake, whether you are asleep, whether you are in business transactions, any moment and every moment we are connected indirectly and directly by the networks. So we are now so much dependent. Now, think about the future when more and more gadgets will come, more and more machines will come, they all will be doing the communication with your knowledge or without your knowledge. Point number 1. So this dependency, now I give you an example, the dependency has taken us to which level? In my campus, in my hostel, if I pull out the internet connection by some problem due to the technical problem for 5 minutes, I get call from the students or my colleagues, hey, why the network is not working? Within 2 minutes. But if the student asks, have you taken a breakfast? 99% of them have not, because they go to from the lab to the room at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., they straight come to the class without breakfast. So they don't mind not taking breakfast, but they mind if the internet is not working for 2 minutes. See the change of nature, it means the people's dependency has increased. So I jokingly always say, to my students in my class, is that this is the second highest dependency in our life. Second highest. Which is the first highest? The first highest dependency in our life is oxygen. So if oxygen is taken out, everyone will complain, hey, I am feeling suffocated. So similarly, the internet is taken out, our student friends feel suffocated. Hey, if mobile is taken away or my internet is taken away, please give me. So the suffocation shows that our dependency. So this is it not worth understanding? I hope so. After oxygen, if it is, our dependency has increased so much. So this is worth reading. So I say this touches all aspects of day-to-day life. So practically touching from our food to sleep to medicines to everything is touching. So this is the thing which we are working on, and all these things are now, majority is now on the internet. So, but the internet is not functioning as we want. So what next? So that is my talk. So first of all, I'll give you an understanding that why internet was born. It was born 1968, 1967, 66, 67 funding happened, but 68 first testing happened of the internet. But why it was born? 1968 is only 45 years back. But telecom networks started operating from 1890, and it matured in 1910, means it was much older than the internet. And in the United States, Europe, and India also, India it was slow, but all those parts of the world, telecom network was well established, working very fine. And why it was born? Look at this. There is a well established telecom network in US and worldwide from 1900, early 19th century. Telecom network runs by a central control system. It has I'll give you an example of what is called a control system. Every one of us has a mobile phone or landline. When you dial, you hear a sound called beep, beep, beep. After a certain amount of time, you hear a ringtone. Then your friend picks up or your parents picks up and they say hello, then you speak. So there are two parts. You dial, after dialing there is a beep sounds, then there is a ringtone. So then a person picks up. So two parts. The dialing part and the person picking part. In between, the whole thing goes by the control plane. That means your dialing, the signal goes, signaling that is called, on the control plane, there is another set of devices which carries your signal to the destination to find out the destination is available or not. If it is available, it is switched off or switched on. If it is switched off, you will get a message, the destination is switched off. If he's not, he's talking to somebody, you get a message that he's engaged, please try after some time. Or if on the way, if any of the places, if the bandwidth is not able to reach the call to the destination, you get all the lines on this route are busy, please try after some time. These are all these activities of signal plane or control plane. If all these are in right shape, in good shape, then your call is through, then you get a ringtone. This is the fundamental. Then the destination when picks up, you talk. That means when you talk, that is a voice, that is called as a data. That is another set of equipment carries your voice. So control signal carried by one set of equipments and the data of your voice carried by another set of equipments. So there are two planes. One is called control plane, one is called data plane in the telecom networks. Well designed, well set and working very fine. But where is the problem? The problem is here. It is a centrally controlled system. If control system damaged, then the whole communication collapse. By any means, if you can catch that nerve of the telecom network, means the control plane, if you damage, even the data network, data part is very well nice. If you can spoil the equipments, one of the switches, central switches of the control plane, whole network will collapse because it's centrally controlled. Like our body, if the brain is a small part of the body, but if some problem happens in the brain, body paralysis happens. Then the body is the major part. Because that is the nervous system. So the control plane is there. So then what happened, that was the thing which leads to, in the Cold War time, started between the superpower after Second World War II. The 1945, 46, say 46, the Second World War over, then 50 onwards, Cold War started. 4 years they took to settle down after the Second World War, was a huge loss. The 55, 60, that was the peak of the Cold War between the superpowers. And the superpower, they found out how to kill each other by different means, but technically now you must have heard the cyber wars and all kind of things. At that time there was no internet, so it was only communication was the telecom. So they thought that if somebody bombs that central node of the control plane, or couple of central nodes in the control node, or throw some chemicals to those machines or those boxes, then whole telecom communication will go down. Central communication has to be taken care of. So what they did, the government of US, what they did, there was an internal fear of damage only communication network by affecting central control nodes. There was an internal fear in the Pentagons. Recently some of these confidential notes were coming out which reveals that in discussions of the government. So then the DoD, Department of Defense of USA, started a research project called distributed network. So don't do central control network. Let us distribute the networks. If one side is bombed, other side will do what? There will be not a single point of failure. That given mark to this called no central control by set of professors, what they did, although generally professors are very innocent, they don't understand the politics. But the governments understood the politics, they didn't reveal that to the professors. They gave the money, they told, we need a network which will not be centrally controlled. You please find out. Professor people, those Professor Kleinrock from UCLA, from Berkeley, Stanford and MIT, 4 professors from these top universities, and from DOD, Department of Defense scientists, some of them scientists, plug into them without telling them why they are asking them, gave them a lot of money. As usual, professor lost into the lab and discovered one beautiful thing called internet, or invented a beautiful thing called internet. And this was born, nothing but given birth to the internet in 1960, which is not centrally controlled. What is not centrally controlled? That means there is no control per internet. There is only data plane. You throw any information, your mail or any packet, it goes hop by hop. And whenever which path is available, it takes that path and leads to the destination. So any one node goes back, he'll find out another path which leads to the destination. So that was the main gist of internet was born. So this is the DNA. What is the DNA? The DNA of internet is the distributed network. It's not central controlled like telecom. So now, how internet works? If it is distributed networks, then how it works and why we are facing problem and why we are going to SDN. So this is just to give you a quick understanding of us. You see, this is our National College local area networks. You say I have 3 departments for physics, chemistry and mathematics. And here there will be a switch here, and these are the department computers connected to each switch. This is going to the master switch connected to the router, and this router is connected to the external world for internet, and this is your mail server and web server. This is just like a star kind of connectivity. Star, why star? This is a central node. This is a star. Again, this is another star, which is a tree. 2 stars can make a tree, so it's a tree structure like this. And look at this. This round one is called router, is going to outer world. So I will expand this picture in the next slide. Look at this. So this is your this one I can say this is our NC college here, National College, and this is our regional ISP internet service provider. And here are other net companies like maybe our Wipro, TCS, Infosys, other companies, local area networks. And these rounds one are called routers. So what happens? If you throw a packet, it gets routed like this and comes to here. And if somebody throws a packet, it goes routed hop by hop and reaches at here. So like this internet works, which we know. I'll little bit deep dive into it. What I'll dive? This is a router. So I'll dive into a little bit of router because router is one of the main elements in the whole internet which forwards the packet in the right direction. Means if I am going from Baswantagudi to say Koramangala, so which in each square, that's the per router, which road I should catch to reach there in a shortest path. That is the job of the router. There will be every square has a multiple inputs, multiple outputs. So if I come into a particular input, I should catch the particular output where by virtue of which I can reach to the destination quickly. That's the job of the router. So I will dive a bit into the router to make us understand. You see, this is a complete router's picture where it is like this. These are called input arms, means the fibers entering into the routers. That means one fiber coming from say Chennai, one fiber is coming from Bombay, and another fiber is going out to Delhi, and then this is going out to Hyderabad. So which packet will go towards Delhi and which packet goes to the Hyderabad, who will say? So every packet has a header which carries the source IP address and destination IP address, and that goes to a processor here, routing processor, which runs the routing algorithm for each packet and tells the packet, hey, now after running this routing algorithm, it will go out this direction. Next packet will tell go out in this direction. Like this, every packet is studied and routing algorithm is run and thrown out. When you send email or you send a chat message or you do downloading your web page to your screen, and every time it may be coming from far away from here to here. This is you sitting in the computer in the NC college, but it is coming from the server from the United States. So it will cross all these routers, and every router your packets will be studied and forwarded. And so what is studied? Study means your routing algorithm will run and it will be forwarded. So what is the cost? The cost is this. For running this routing algorithm, what I have to do? I have to run a routing algorithm. I will show you in the next slides. Then after doing that, you will give command to call switching fabric. What is switching fabric? Switching fabric is that if a packet from here has to go to here, I have to connect from here to here. So how to do that? Look at this. This is A and this is Y direction I will go out. So I will give a command electronically, it will touch this point. So the current will flow like this and go out like this. Other points will be open. The command will be like that. So the routing processor, after routing is done, he will tell, okay, this packet will go from A to Y, close this. A packet will go to Z, then only close this, open out all the connections. So the central part is called switching fabric. Every packet, millions of packets enter into routers, millions times this runs the routing and throw it. So people tried their best to reduce this routing time and all, but the problem is this every packet takes its own time to come out. There is a delay. Millions packet coming in, millions packet going out in a router. So every packet if I do, then my delay is high. And if the packet coming into the router is too high and the routing process is slow, then there is a possibility there is a packet loss. That means if a buffer gets filled up and the router throws away the packets. So now these are the routing algorithms. I will not, these are the algorithms, two slides, but I am not going into detail. But to make you understand that there are two types of routing. Very simple example I will give you. Say, if I ask you, can you please tell me the direction to Majestic? All of you will raise hand and tell me, sir, go out, this is the main road, you turn right, if you turn right again, you will reach to the Majestic. How you came to tell that? Because you know the complete topology, means you know the complete geography of this area, and you know the roads, and you told me the direction. Similarly, a router may be knowing the destination packet is close by, and I know the complete topology. He doesn't need to run the routing algorithm always. Once you done, then he can tell you go there. But if I ask you a question that please tell me the direction to reach Kyoto, and we may not be knowing where is Kyoto. Similarly, what will happen is suddenly in the morning we write a URL or a website URL which is unknown to us, any part of the world. So how the packet will go there or come from there to us? So what you only know your neighbors, but neighbor knows his neighbor knows, so they ask, like when we get lost in the road, we ask the traffic police which direction has to go, but he says go to that traffic light and ask there, like this we reach to the destination. So exactly these two concepts are used. This is a fundamental concept that you know the complete topology, how to reach to the destination. You don't know the complete topology except your neighbor, then how to reach to the destination. So these are the two things used in the routers. What I want to say is this. So till today is used, one is for least state where you know the complete topology, and here's the distance vector algorithm in the two slides which is detailed only. So this talks about that if you don't know the complete topology, these two softwares are there inside this place, this routing process. These two algorithms are running in this. If I know the topology, then that piece of software will run and tell me next hop and like this. So, but why I want to emphasize on this is this, to make you understand that this is a small piece of software maybe, but every software takes some milliseconds to run. So there are millions of packets coming in. To multiply the milliseconds, it will be a few minutes and hours of time of delay. Got it? So how to get rid of it? How to make internet much faster? So those were the challenges slowly came in long back. So the software, once I got the destination, shall I use it always and always or once or what? So people started asking these questions. So how it happens is that this is your friend sitting some part of the world. If the packet comes from your applications called say email and it gets routed one hop. These are routers I showed you. Already I have shown you the routers, and each routers run those routing algorithms, switching fabric, and then they connect from input to output, throw your packet to next hop and move it. Okay, so like this is reach here to your friend's place. Then what is the challenge? Now I only told you the delay time of routing time to run, but that is one major. But what are the other problems the present internet is facing? Okay, so look at this. For energy efficient communication, what we did, both the source and destination end systems to be up and away for communication. What is happening, to save power, I switch off my laptop. So what happens? Your email goes and stays in the overnight in a mail server. You get up in the morning, www.gmail.com. But the Gmail is on 24/7. Whether mail goes to it or not, it is on. It is consuming power. Huge power. The second highest power consumed in the world is by IT infrastructure after the railways. That is a huge problem now. Okay. Separation of identity of address. A system is identified IP addresses in internet. As a result, when a system changes its point, attachment the address also changes. That is very interesting. I give an example. If I am in NC college, when I switch on my laptop, I get an IP address here, which is different from my home. Why? Because the IP address are this college centric or geographic centric. I go to my internet service provider, please give me an IP address. You give me an IP address which will be next building will go to same internet service provider or another internet service provider which is completely different. So it is not, the bottom line is it is not systematically given, this number, like telecom. In telecom, if I go to any part of the world, I dial 0091, straight away comes to India. Then I dial 80, boom, to Bangalore. After that, if I dial 2852, straight away goes to the electronic city, first 4 digits. Last 4 digits only stands for the telephone number where it is. But from 0091 to 2852 is well defined worldwide. But IP addresses, IPv4 addresses are not well defined. They are randomly distributed because people have not thought that internet will be so popular. So what does it mean? The meaning is this. In telecom, when I dial, I know from the number where the destination is. But from IP address, it is very difficult to say where is the destination is. Because if they gave it as a demand came or people requested form, then the routing becomes very slow. Because not like telecom. Location awareness. IPv4 addresses are not distributed symmetrically with respect to geography, which I explained to you. So the mobile nodes need to know their locations. IT previously didn't support mobility. IT mobility only started 10 years back, but internet is there 45 years. So now what is IT mobility? If I am in this local wireless LAN and sitting at here working, I just in my laptop is downloading something. I want to walk down from NC college to the next building where the next IP address is there. Will my session continue? So this is called IP mobility. This is not telephone mobility. You are on a GSM phone, moving in the car and all, you are not at all worried, base station to base station it hops. So IP mobility is yet to mature, but it is not so easy because IP addresses are not in symmetric way. So mobile nodes need to know their locations. Security on the internet is a problem because it was an open network and so it is a problem till today. It's a huge challenge till today. No isolations. What is isolation? In telecom, when you dial a number and talking to your friend, have you seen, I'm not talking about mobile, landline, you will not find any degradation in the quality because the constant bandwidth is given to you for 64 kilobits per second without compression. It's given to you from end to end till the session, your talk is over. Half an hour you talk or 5 minutes you talk, it is given to you. But internet, what happens, once you using your friends came and they all logged in on different machines, the same bandwidth is shared to everyone. No isolation. Your service never gets any priority. Everybody is equal in internet. So you don't get protected. So your quality goes down. Okay. So this is a problem. Quality of service. Next generation internet should allow variety of QoS guarantees. Variety means for voice different, multimedia different, mail different and all. So this is a problem. Quality is a problem. Real-time service. Real-time communications I want to do in internet. If you don't have a lease line, then lease line is the same as a telephone line. So, but if you don't have a lease line, we use shared medium like others over the internet, I am in trouble. Because if others comes in, same medium is shared to everyone. You must have seen when you take a bandwidth to your home, they ask 1:4. Sorry, 1:4 is okay, you have to pay less money. But they will tell you 1:4, they must be giving 1:40. 40 people they will be giving and they will be collecting revenue from them. And as the 40 people chip into the internet, you are gone. So these are the internet present challenges, as I mentioned, challenges. Cross-layer communications. I'll give you another example. What is cross-layer? Internet or networking has a multi-layers, like applications layer, transport layer, network layer. Every layer has their own jobs. So for an example, I'll give you which you will face very shortly, for UID. Now everybody knows UID. The UID, what you do, you will, what is the purpose of the UID? Authentication. That I am so and so. That's all. That is the job of UID. Nothing else. It's not a citizen certificate, it's nothing. So what will happen? You are gone to the airport will have a UID box. The security will ask you, put your thumb. I want to know who are you. So there will be 100 people standing behind you. So how many seconds a person behind you will allow you to stand in front of him? 2 to 3 or maximum 5 seconds. After that he will start shouting, hey, what are you doing? Please go. We are getting late with this flight and all. So what is the job of the UID now? The moment you put it on this, say this is my box, I put it, within this will collect my finger, all these things correctly, and it will go by a network of the airport, it will go to the backbone. Where is the database? Database may be in the central part of India. It will travel all along 2000 kilometers and go into deep into the database. What is the database? Database of 120 crores population, means 1200 million people, and find out your right name and come back. And come back 2000 kilometers and show 5 seconds. So applications is UID. Is the network ready? That means from application to the transport to the routing, I showed you every hop the packet has to be routed hop by hop. That it will 10 routers, if I cross to reach to my database, I am finished. 5 seconds, it will take 5 minutes maybe. I'm just so this cross-layer communications is nothing well defined in the internet when it was till today. Now people are working. Many costs means this requires from n by n communications by n subscribers, maybe n redundant publishers, means n users, clients are talking to n streaming videos or streaming, or they are cross talking to each other and all. So these are the things going on. Support for streaming data. Many of the real world applications are stream oriented, requires fixed minimum throughput guarantee. Streaming. You watch a cricket match. You don't want that his hands is visible, leg is visible and ball is not visible. The streaming should be clear, should come to you. Okay. So, and virtualization, this is a big area coming up in database and data centers and networking also. Physically, what you see a network connected by fiber, copper or wireless is one, but the packet routing will be completely different. Not it may be going by another different topologies. Physical connectivity will be there, but the logical connectivity, that's called the routing of the packets, may not be ring kind of a star kind of thing. So these are the things people are thinking of to do a very fast and very good routing. So then looking at these drawbacks, all these drawbacks of the internet, which I started from the router concept, that why router is so slow and routing takes time and for each packet. From there to QoS, to give you end-to-end real-time communication and all, people envision a new network at the present, which is started only 1 or 2 samples, the examples that happened from 2012, is called SDN, Software Defined Networks. I'll tell you the vision first, then I will come to the SDN architecture. What is the vision? Why should we go for a new internet or new network? What is the vision first? Provider do not have control on the next and the next for the network. What is the provider? Provider is service provider. We all go to service. The mobile phone, Airtel is a service provider, BSNL is a service provider, or Reliance is a service provider. This is a service provider. Similarly, in internet also there are multiple service providers. Same Airtel, BSNL are there, plus small also there like CFI or STPI and all. These providers, what happened when I go, hey, I need a very good bandwidth and I can ready to pay you so much money and all. So they say yes, fine, they sign and go. But they do not have control over the network to whom they are connected. Say I have to go to here to my packet has to go to the United States, say Chicago University. I have to go my internet service provider, then my national backbone, international backbone from India to UK will be one, from UK to United States will be another one international backbone, from United States from New York there is an international gateway, then I will enter into US. So there will be multiple network service providers. And I have no control except mine. And my service provider has no control except his neighbor, but your packet is flowing. So the guarantee which he has given to me, what guarantee that he will get from his neighbor? So all people are on faith, they are thinking they are getting that, but not happening that. That's not happening. Practically not happening. I can give you n number of examples because I have been working on statewide area network of the government of India and government of Karnataka where we see this kind of challenges and troubles. They promise us something, they give something. Okay, so this is the provider don't have a control over next to next networks. If I have no control, then how can I get my packet going through? But in telecom, when you dial a number, within the United States your son or daughter or your friend is sitting, you know I end to end I will get this much of dedicated bandwidth, nobody can stop me. On telecom networks. But on internet it is not happening. Because of the very good standardization of the telecom. So hop by hop handover on faith. On faith. Practically it is running hop by hop on faith that my packet will reach to the destination. Like our Indian Postal Department is very nice, but I can see some of the part of the World Postal Department, you drop a post box later, whether it will reach to the destination or not is on faith. N number of hands they change. So it may reach or may not reach. So on faith. In technology, faith word is not good. We are scientists, we are engineers, we want this has to reach within this much of time, without failure, without anything. But my technology is not supporting that on faith. Faith is like we are going to temple after throwing our email to the network. Current network is not flexible and quick to change. This is extremely important. This is a very fundamental point I will tell you here, which you will need to understand. I will give you the examples later on, twice. See the evolution of computers, which you will quickly understand. Many of you might not have seen, professors have seen those things for senior people. When first computer came, IBM and HP and all, I'm talking about 30 years, 40 years back, your hardware and operating system and application belongs to the same company. Say a banking database they developed, the IBM used to give the hardware, and IBM for their hardware they developed an operating system for that, and for that they developed the applications for that banking, and a bank used to go buy the complete rack and put it into the database. What happened? Now, today, look at this. I go buy a hardware of Intel, buy an operating system of Microsoft or Linux as I like, and I go to n number of shops to buy different applications and load it to my systems. All three are three different vendors. And that evolutionized the complete ball game of the computer systems. The companies who doesn't or didn't understand that this is going to happen, the people who like it, they perished. They didn't exist in the computer system. Those who understood that this is going to be a big game. Why? Because the operating system is completely a new ball game. Windows-based operating system, Linux-based operating system, Unix-based operating system all came. Some of them succeeded, some of them, and they are agnostic. They are neutral to any hardware. And hardware was developed by multiple companies. So standardization started happening, and people evolved the computer systems. But I'll give you why I gave that first analogy. Now I'll give you to the network now. Now, if you go to the network, if you buy a router, it will be Cisco or Juniper or Alcatel-Lucent or say HP. Their hardware is of HP or Cisco hardware is Cisco's operating system of the routers, and Cisco's routing algorithms may be running on the top of that or some applications. If you buy other companies' hardware and put Cisco's operating, it will not work. That is meaning it is strongly interrelated. They have not opened up mentally yet. That is the first barrier we have to break in future network. What is that one? This current network is not flexible and quick to change. It's not flexible because the hardware and operating system, once you bought, it is remain till the death of that equipment. If new things comes, you have to either throw away the complete hardware, bring another one and load the new software, operating system, new applications. So, as a result of which, new innovations, new things are not happening so fast. So what we want is now the people are envisioning that you buy the hardware for lifetime once, keep it. Like we buy the laptop or PC, with a certain amount of speed, keep it. New operating system comes, you delete the previous operating system, go to the new one. It should work on the hardware. Operating system should be your laptop or PC agnostics. As a result of which, the new research happening in operating system, you can able to push it onto your system, which is not happening. So innovations are not coming into the system so easily. So it's not flexible, quick to change. And market for all. To ensure quality of service, network provider try to make agreement with other vendors. Let me tell you, the concept is completely changing. What is the change? I'll first give you an example, then I'll bring you to the network. Say I am a travel agent. I have a lot of vehicles. I have an Innova, I have an Indica, I have a BMW cars. According to my client, a client can send me a BMW, I can send him. If send me Innova, I'll send him. Indica, I'll send him. But any client comes, I have a solution for that. But now, what happens? When you go to internet service provider, he says, hey, you have to tell him this much of bandwidth needed, year to year you have to sign a SLA or service level agreement, year to year contract. In between, if you want to increase or decrease, he will not agree so easily. Because if you decrease, he will not agree. If you increase, he may agree. Because he doesn't mind if your packet goes on now. So this is the problem. So flexibility is not there because the system doesn't support that. So internet is not doing that. So vision of SDN is that to solve those problems of the internet. Usage of old equipment. As I told you, that old equipment we are throwing away in the routers and switches because hardware and operating system and applications are strongly entangled. So it is not happening. QoS monitoring. Normally quality of service, QoS stands for quality of service, and quality of service means my packet should reach to the destination very fast, no jitter, no delay and all. So how to measure that? Normally QoS is measured at the edge of autonomous network. That means I can measure my quality of service at my network. I cannot measure what my neighbor is giving and my neighbor's neighbor is giving because nobody reviews their networks. They are so jealously protecting themselves. Okay, so it is not possible to monitor now. So can SDN give that in future? So these are the vision that give you QoS end to end, like your classical telecom network. Policy-based network, forwarding packet as per the policies required for survival of growth and business and all. So policies are generally comes in when all the network gets interconnected. What will be my security policy? What will be my quality of service policies? And what will be my charging policy? Money matters and all. So can you have this? So network resilience. That means if routing path fails, how fast I can come back. As I showed the routing hop by hop in the classical internet, if failure happens, again the fiber cut happens, like in the midnight you find BBMP cutting the road without any notice and all, fiber is gone. Next day half of the city goes and they don't care, they don't know actually. So then internet takes a huge amount of time to recover from that. Because it is a hop by hop basis. It takes time. So network topology, everybody hides his topology because they don't want to tell the other people that what is my topology, which we are facing a huge problem. Any time we are designing any network for the nation, we tried once for the country, for the state, for Karnataka, we went to the service provider, please give me, if you go to Taluk now, if you ask your birth certificate, in the 2 minutes you'll get it. For that network, we struggled a lot from the BSNL or all the respective service providers. They hide their networks. They don't tell us. So as a result of which we are not able to design efficiently. So this vision, this is the last slide about the vision. The vision, this is the biggest defect. So looking at the internet and telecom is very good QoS but very costly. Cost is very high. But internet is cheap, but it is not giving me my quality of service. So the debate is that with a low cost, this thing. So I will go to the internet, but I should have get the quality of service. So there is a big debate. The central and distributed system. Telecom is a central and internet is a distributed by birth, by DNA as I told you. Because after Second World War, they given birth to this network telling that if somebody damages my telecom network, there should be another standby network which should not be, even though it is bombed partially, other partials should work. So that was the debate, central and distributed control. The philosophically internet is based on the distributed system, philosophically. And It is for distributed systems, service distribution or time to re-establishment due to network changes is unpredictable and excessive. Due to distributed system, it is like a chaos system. That means it takes its own time to stabilize. For an example, if I am going on the Bangalore road, is the best distributed system. If one side gets congested, then how can I find out another path to go by less congestion and reach my home? No central information. So what I do, I find out from my own intelligence here and other past experience and all, I take my time. But if there would have been some central who can see the complete Bangalore city from the top, tell me, hey, you are here, don't go on this road to your home, go by this. Smart cities will come, of course it will come, again by the nature. So this is the way. So everyone needs to comply to some standards, so making the change in the system is difficult. So if everyone comply with the some standards, so making changes in the systems is difficult. So it is against the growth of technical innovation and experimentation. This is I underlined because if we make everything to some very close down to everything to straight-jacketed only follow this like military regime, that innovation will die. Because those who innovate will say, when I innovate, these people have straight-jacketed the things for better quality and QS. So there is a debate going on whether to go for a distributed system, central system. If it is central system, what part shall we keep it open, what part shall we keep it closed, and all kind of things is going on. So ultimately, there is a huge division in the internet. Let me tell you, in my concluding slide, I have only 3 bullets, but I'll tell you, there's internet, there is a huge, internet is such a part and parcel of our life now. Whole world scientific community is now debating and divided in 2 parts, completely. Top companies, some top companies are supporting that go for a central now. And some are telling no, let us enjoy that distributed, the DNA of internet, why it was born. So now we are going to that central logics. So those who are supporting central, bring internet or design and redesign the internet again by the central logic as a controller is at the central location and rest of the devices what are the slave under the controller. So those who are believer of the central system, central control, they believe that there will be a central node like telecom which will have all the informations of the routers and it will give commands. So the routers will act as a slave. They will not have those intelligentsia of routing algorithm and all. Everything will be done centrally. He will give commands. Accordingly, it will work smoothly. Okay. So now this is the point where the internet is practically bifurcating 2 parts. Central control internet, distributed internet. Distributed internet we have seen. The central control internet which we are going to speak about next couple of slides is called SDN, software defined network. It will have a lot of features which will control the internet in a better way. So all these things I have already told, QoS and all. So who should have more control on path and all I have told. Now I will come to the SDN architecture. Now I made the stage that why SDN is important and why people now feeling suffocated that I need SDN. Because quality of service is not available, packet loss is high, delay is high on internet, business are going down, and internet is even though cheaper, people are not able to enjoy it according to their quality of service requirement. Even though they are ready to pay more money, internet is not giving them. So now comes the architecture. So now look at it. It will have 3 layers. Applications layer, control. This is not the present internet. Present internet has only application and the infrastructure. Applications mean or your email, your voice call, voice over IP, voice over internet, your Skype, all those things are there. But there is no control plane as it is. And then come the infrastructure, switches, virtual switches and all. So now this is added up in SDN, software defined networks. So if you look at it is a little larger picture from the previous picture. So this is called I have the applications means your business application. Any banking application, voice, video, streaming, movies, email, all are your business applications, they call it. Because they earn revenue out of these service providers. And they should be connected to a SDN. So the moment you give a command telling that I need this application. I am sitting at here, my friend is sitting at Chicago University, I want to do a video conferencing, which is now done, but a lot of losses happen. But over the internet, if you want to do with a particular QoS you want, then the controller will talk to all the intermediate routers till the destination and book a bandwidth for you. And this is a pretty complex problem. How it will be booked, how the packet will be multiplexed, how it will be demultiplexed in each router. That is another huge set of faults. But in short, it will look at all these network devices from source to destination and configure them. And when your packet moves, it will move smoothly. And you will not at all face any problem. And there will be isolation of your session. Isolation means if you are doing a video, previously what used to happen? I am doing a video conferencing with my friends. Suddenly multiple users came to that network and my quality of video conferencing started jittering, wavy, and some packet loss happens, some voice loss happens and all. Those has to be protected. Means your session has to be isolated from other people's traffic. So those things will happen like this. So what is this now? So what I showed you in picture, this is written in the text here, black and white. So what we saw, it is a 3-layer architecture. Why 3-layer? Application is 1 layer, control is a 1 layer, this infrastructure is 1 layer. Infrastructure is a non-intelligentsia. It will get command from here and accordingly it will configure and sit quiet. The moment your packet will come, you will forward according to the command given by the boss. Here is the new boss called controller over the internet. So it is a 3-layer architecture. Create a layer in network systems to get advantage of layered architecture. So now in the network internet there is a layered architecture, application 1 layer, control 1 layer and data 1 layer. And proposal similar to the computer architecture. The very beautiful thing is the same as your whole computer system. If you break it down into 3 architecture, your C programming is all our applications, your email or applications. Below that operating system, and below that is your hardware. Same. So people are thinking of that. Similar to the computer architecture, hardware layer, OS layer and applications layer. And let switching fabrics works as a hardware resources without intelligence. The switching fabric which I showed you the figure is that it is only a hardware which will not have the intelligence. The intelligence is routing. Routing was in the part of the switching fabric previously. Now it has been moved from the router to a controller, who will give you the command to the router telling that you forward this packet this direction, this packet to that direction and all. So it is moved. Ways to work across multiple hardware resources as a control them. So operating systems will be independent of hardware. I can buy Cisco's operating system, I can put it on the Juniper's hardware, which is not possible now. It will happen in the future in STM. So your hardware, I can buy from any good company, which hardware I like. I can buy operating system of the routers and switches from any company I like, which is different from this hardware. And I buy the applications of routings and all for the UID and all kind of applications which is good from other companies and merge them, run them. As the time comes changes, I'll keep the hardware. If a new OS comes which is much better than this, I will buy that and put it and delete the previous OS. So I don't have to buy that hardware again and again. So applications to drive the particular requirements. So applications will be the boss to drive it. And this is the thing which I have written, the hardware infrastructure, what they will do exactly, the functions of the hardware infrastructures, functions of the control layer and the applications layer. That means hardware will contains the flow table. Flow table means which packet will go to which direction for routing table. That will be defined by the control plane. Control plane saying, for this router, this is your routing table. Please store it in your memory. As the packet comes, accordingly we will forward it. So control layer works similar to the operating system, SDN control system for interactions, hardware, software, controller, program direct, all those things will be done, and applications are all common applications. So this will be the future view. These are the routers and this is the master controller. It is dotted lines are giving commands according to the applications you generate from your source. It will go to the controller will tell, hey, you configure this session from here to here like this. I'll show you some more pictures, and before that, this is the concept of new one which is coming up. This is in your applications. This is the network OS. This is one research going on in a couple of top universities in India, also 2-3 universities doing in India, 2 IITs and IIIT Bangalore is doing. This is called OpenFlow. This is the interactions between the OS and the hardware abstract, that this will keep this one and this one independent of each other. That means this OpenFlow is a common language interface to interact with the different hardware platforms. It is one piece of software which has been accepted worldwide. It's #1 today in the for this SDN as an interaction of different ways with the different hardware. So what is the advantage now? So what advantage we got? We saw internet, we are enjoying internet, but we know the limitations. And for that, SDN people visualized and gave an architecture, that applications layer, control layer, and the infrastructure layer. The functions of every layer has been defined, and what they are doing is there. So as a routing, so what is the advantage we got from the SDN going together? As a routing decision is made with a big picture in the consideration, it becomes more effective and optimal. As I told you, if the routing is done, if a person is sitting on 20,000 feet and can see what is in the Bangalore roads, where is the congested, where is the less congested, now from CHOP can tell us to go by this way, that way, you will reach home fast. But now that is not happening. Every hop by hop we are deciding what to do at looking at congestion. So if centrally somebody can tell us, then I will better efficiency. So that will ensure. If any node fails, alternative is chosen centrally using global current information. So if any one node fails, as one was, if controller has a central node, so he can tell me better way which path I should follow and go. In normal routing path, it is decided by network, here the path can be chosen. If new algorithm comes up, it is easy to change the network application than reprogramming the boxes. So as a new routing algorithm will come, I will only change the path. I do not have to throw the hardware or the operating systems. Like you have an operating system in your computer, you have a hardware called a computer, but when a new application comes for that new application, do you throw it out? No. You know very well, the moment I bring that CD of application called a game, any games, I will put it into through my CD. My same operating system called Microsoft and Linux will accept it and I will play that game. But new games are coming, next 5 years will come. I don't have to throw away my operating system. But presently in the routers and the switches, anything new comes, they always advise us, please buy new ones. So this will go. And this is also, so behavior of the boxes can be easily changed by changing the applications. As controllers in the network are much less than the nodes, network synchronization is easy. So controllers are generally very less number of nodes than the number of routers. So it's very small nodes, that is actually a research problem till now. I will come to that slide and explain you some of the work still going on in the labs is this, that how to optimize, how many number of controllers we need in this world for internet. Telecom is well established, well standardized. But internet, so many routers mushroomed across the world. Every home has nowadays a router called wireless routers. We put our Wi-Fi in that, or we put our LAN in that, and in home, forget about the companies and academias. So, but we need a controller. So how many routers one controller? And what is his job? And how the controller and controller stick? This is a pretty complex problem. Still now the world is struggling. This is a huge, multiple PhD problems till today. So as a controller, the network are much less than the nodes. Network synchronization is easy. Implementation network virtualization becomes easier because the controller will do that. This is a picture which I am showing you. This is a research problem going on the world. You see, this is a source, SI system of source, and this is a destination, any part of the world. This is a small picture to reduce the complexity of the figure. This is a, you can think of, there are tens of thousands these kind of small networks are there, ISPs, internet service providers, or the networks, and each one of them is controlled by, these greens are controllers. And these controllers also talk to each other, the information they. So before your packet moves from here to here, you will inform to the controller, this controller will talk to this controller and this, find out all the paths, hottest path. And then after that they will give command to these routers, then your packet will move. The question which I again repeat, what is the research one? How many controllers I need? What will be their job? How I can update this controller if some new complex problem or application will come up. If a controller fails due to some reasons, then how the other controllers will take off? Unsolved problem with respect to internet. I will give an example which you know, will be happy. In 2012 onwards, we come out. And you go to your home sometime, you do one thing, you give www.nc.oac.in, say, this is our website of this college. You will find it is coming to your website and opening will be very slow. But you go to Google, give National College, link will come, click on that. Your website will open, same web server will come, but it will open much faster. Why it happens, you know? Silently, Google does a lot of data in the internet because he has a lot of money, intelligence and everything. Because 60+%, close to 70% of the traffic on this art over the internet is controlled by the Google. 70%. So all the service provider, ISPs, listen to Google because they get money by Google. So Google told, okay, one condition. I will put my private box side by side your router. So the moment somebody writes google.com, it will hit your router first. The moment you see google.com, you pass on to my router which is sitting just beside you. Then I will take off with my private network. That is nothing but Google's SDN, software defined network. Google completely controls. And as a result of it is a private network, so what it does, he reaches by his private network to your web server much faster than you are coming by the general road hop by hop. So that the moment all the users now got the taste of the going to Google and going to the destination company, I am getting much more faster. Why I am getting faster? Because he is using SDN privately. It is not known to many of us. Every ISP is put on side by side. If I touch google.com, I will enter into their private and they search, find out much faster. So we have started getting the taste of SDN, but not officially, unofficially, because one should not allow another, because I sign bond with my ISP that my packet should be secure, it should not be go to any other network, say for an example, if you take, but now it is going to Google, Google is doing all these things. But as a result of it, Google gets huge revenue because everybody goes to Google, then Google gives you fast. As a result of which you always go to, then you get smartphone advertisements on your screen from the Google. Google asks those advertisement giving companies millions of rupees or dollars. So Google earns for that. So anyhow, it's a big business. So this is the work which is going on. And so I give you the example that already we are in the shoes of SDN non-officially. So, but separating control plane from data plane is one of the major areas which is going to be in the internet. And now layer architecture and vendor independence, not closed box specific vendors. So what this I have already explained to you already, that in future routers and switches will have a layered applications, operating systems and hardware will be layered and it will be different from each other. So these are all central intelligence which I have talked. Control plane will be the central intelligence which will do this. So major areas to address by the SDN. A lot of research is yet to be done. And network virtualization. Virtualization means as you in your laptop you see previously one operating system used to be there. Now in your laptop Linux is there, Microsoft is there. You whatever you want you can switch over. Similarly, your physical network will be one kind of connectivity, but you can route your packet logically in different topologies. So these are called virtualization, connectivity and routing. And data centers. This is another practical example because SDN is a very much in the initial stage. And data centers, if you go, two databases are here, they communicate to each other in the hundreds of gigabits. And multiple switches will be in between. So controlling the switches, people have fast deployment of the SDN is happening in data center first because there is a small network and it is under control of a private body, which is not a public like internet. And the fast deployment is happening in the data center. And if the data center will be successful, then people will come to the much larger and the complex, which is we are facing for internet, classical internet. So this is the data center. Most used application area in the current days as illustrated chain virtual machines and all. So data center is the major areas of address and all. So I want to conclude my talk in this, is that the classical internet will be divided in two parts. The existing one with the distributed systems, which is the existing one which you see with the distributed system, and a centrally controlled with the SDN. And due to transition from circuit switch to the circuit switch means your telecom network to packet switch, that is your internet, the SDN will play a major role to solve the multiple issues of the internet. It will solve, which I already told you the challenges of internet and how the people are trying to solve. It is just the beginning of SDN era, as major research problems yet to be solved. It's really beginning, because I give you only two examples. One is Google private network, which is not disclosed to the public, and other one is data center, which I have been recently attended the SDN Worldwide Congress in last month. So it is beginning. Service providers have no clue what scientists and engineers are thinking, because scientists and engineers are really addressing a pretty complex problem, because as I told you, internet is pretty distributed, and it is hundreds, thousands of routers across the globe. Each one of them different vendors, different hardware, different softwares, and we are lucky the packet is moving because of very robust IPv4 protocol, it hop by hop, pretty slow. But it's going, reaching destination, that's a great thing. But as human being always by nature, by God, always wants better services, internet will be divided. Because existing internet will not able to give us QoS. Because I told you in the routing architecture, when I showed you the router, when I showed you the switching fabric, when I showed you that routing algorithms, every packet will take some more and more time to go to next. That is not at all acceptable by the human being in future. The future needs better network or internet, which will be only solved by people are telling at SDN because of control plane. Okay. So it is just the beginning of SDN era as major research. Yet multiple research problems yet to be solved because of the complexity and the size. I am really honored and thank you. Any questions?